Hey guys, it's Lady Sarah here, and welcome to the Wrong Ends for Episode 3 Encounter. Yeah. Alright, so we're just gonna get started. Let's see, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 wrong endings in this game. So let's get started. Alright, so the first wrong end, we decide to leave the classroom instead of standing up at the podium.
ダメ。ここは遊んでないでとっとと学校を出るべきだよね。
Okay, I really don't have time to play around right now. I should get out of here. I decided it would be best to put my yearnings aside and leave the classroom behind.
七不思議だなんてやっぱり迷信じゃない。
Well, that particular wonder turned out to be nothing at all, it seems. Guess it's all just superstition. Oh, come on. Come on, emulator. You could do it. I couldn't believe I gotten all... indignant with Sachiko over something so trivial. Thinking about it now, it seemed kind of ridiculous.
さてと、家に帰ろうかな。
So, alright, time to head home.
今日は明日に備えて早く寝なくちゃ。
I have to get to bed early, so I'll be ready for tomorrow. With this in mind, I walked towards the classroom door and took one step out into the hall. When suddenly... The door slid shut on its own with incredible force, and my neck was trapped in the narrow opening that remained. Oh. I dug my nails into the door frantically. Oh my god, music, you need to chill. Holy shit. So, I dug my nails into the door, frantically trying to open it back up. But the more I pushed on it, the more it pushed back, further constricting my neck. I was flailing my limbs, twisting and contorting my body, trying everything I could to escape. Oh. This is like some Final Destination shit with the elevator. My neck was clamped tightly. I could feel the blood rushing to my head. I couldn't breathe. Opening my mouth in terror, I stuck my tongue out as if trying to swallow the air. Forcibly shaking my head left to right, I swiveled my body to face the ceiling. That's when I saw the tall, pitch-black silhouette of a person. Ugh. A silent scream squirmed its way out of my throat, but the door was still pressing onto my neck. I can't... Tsukasa! My vision whirled and I felt a sensation of falling. At the same time, a lukewarm liquid began pouring over my face.
Eh?
As I was struggling to make sense of what was happening to me, the door that had been violently crushing my neck quietly slid open. The floor of the schoolhouse came down hard on my head. My vision had gone white and began blurring, but I could still see.
私の体が見える。
I can see my body. I was rolling across the hallway, and there in the doorframe I caught sight of my own headless torso collapsing in a heap on the floor.
何が起こった？
What just happened? The last thing I saw out of the corner of one bloodshot, unfocused eye was the familiar figure of the old woman from this morning. See, I don't get it. The old woman tries to save her, but then, while she's in death, tries to kill her. I don't get it. Wrong end. Okay, so the next wrong end, we choose to stand at the teacher's podium and not get our head cut off. But this time we decided to hide in the supply locker. I hurriedly squeezed myself into the metal locker where the classroom's cleaning supplies were kept. It was still pitch black in the room, so I really couldn't spare the time it would take to remove its contents. Instead, I just contorted myself to fit. The locker was thick with smells of mold and varnish. If I can hold my breath for just a little while, I think I'll be safe in here. So I waited. I waited for the footsteps to pass by and fade into the distance, signaling that it was safe to emerge. Whoever it is, I had better hurry. I feel like I'm going to suffocate if I'm in here much longer. Still, it felt a lot safer in the locker than it did out in the room. But the footsteps weren't receding. They were just getting louder, closer, faster. Yeah, that's not cool, man. That's not cool. Okay, and then they came to a sudden halt. They were close, just outside the locker. I peered through the ventilation holes amidst the utter darkness of the classroom. There wasn't a soul to be seen. I'm okay. As long as I stay in here, I'll be okay. I'll be fine. I'm not sure why I believed that. Maybe because I needed to. Maybe because it was so dark, or because I felt so much calmer in such a tight space where nothing could possibly sneak up behind me. I didn't know why, and I didn't care. I just knew that as far as I was concerned, I was safe in here. So I stood motionless and cramped, and I waited. I didn't have to wait long. What was that? It sounded like a door locking. Suddenly apprehensive, I gently nudged the supply closet door just to make sure it would still open for me when I wanted it to. No, it's locked! Fuck you. I let out a sudden yelp at this unknown voice and tried with all my might to push open the door, blocking my escape. No! No, please, let me out! Let me out! Is somebody still here? I hate your voice actor so much. You'll need to be punished for that. There was a brief moment of silence following the eerie voice unsettling proclamation. And then... crash, crunch. The metal walls around me on four sides begin warping inward as if the supply locker had somehow been fed into a trash compactor. Oh my. What's going on? There is no force I can imagine that should have been able to do this. But it was happening. This already confined space was steadily closing in on me. So, it hurts! Open the door! Let me out! Crash, crunch. The collapse of the locker all around me continues, slowly and steadily. I can feel all the manner of things pushing and cutting into my body. My vision went red, and one of the blood vessels in my eye probably burst from the pressure. I wasn't going to last much longer. The ventilation holes in the locker were now pressed right up against my face, and through them I could just barely make out the figure of a person. It was the old woman from this morning. She was standing just outside the slate, staring right into my eyes. It was the last sight I would ever see as the locker finally, inevitably, smashed into my skull. Crash, crunch, crack, splat. See, this is why you don't hide in lockers, people. 'Cause that could happen. Alright, so wrong end number 3. We stand at the teacher's podium. We decide to hide at the teacher's podium and not the locker and get crushed. But this time, instead of making a break for it, we're staying hidden. So, I'll keep hiding. It'll pass by for sure. It'll be okay. But it only took a moment for that decision to come back and bite me. My body was suddenly weighed down. In an instant, without knowing what was happening, my fetally positioned form was essentially locked in place. It was like a boulder had fallen on top of me and was resting on my arched back. I twisted and shuffled myself around, trying to shake it off, but the more I struggled, the heavier it became. And what's more, it felt like it was slowly inching its way up towards my head, as if it were planning on dropping down in front of my face. Was this a person? Guess who? It was a female voice reverberating ominously as if bubbling up from the depths of hell. I squirmed violently, desperate to throw her off of me. What the fuck, man? Shall we play tag together? Oh. My vision went red, or at least it felt that way. Whoever was on my back had dug her razor-sharp fingernails right into my eyes. Okay. I collapsed on the spot, and the pain was instantaneous and unbearable. I could no longer hold my position. I could no longer focus on anything but this agony. Bad children must be punished. The pain shot through my head in waves. It was indescribable, unthinkable. I couldn't take it any longer. My consciousness faded, and I was gone. I would never know exactly what had happened to me, but maybe I was better off that way. Well, that was a quick end. Interesting. Okay, this, where you grab the broom or the salt, we decided to grab the broom instead. A broom from the cleaning supply locker. That might work against a ghost that has no physical form at all. Maybe I could fend her off with it. It was a long shot, but it was better than just standing around and getting caught. So, what do I do now? What do I do? Ah! When I looked over, the spirit of the old woman was holding out her hand from the other side of the door frame. She really was trying to catch me. I wasn't just being paranoid. She was going to kill me and turn me into a ghost like her. I was convinced this had to be Yoshi, the teacher from the urban legend. I couldn't waste any more time. I darted out through the back door of the classroom into the safe end of the hall. I was running at top speed, hoping to escape behind the spirit's back. Unsurprisingly, trying to outrun a ghost proved to be a fruitless endeavor. The spirit saw me and moved at breakneck speed to intercept. Fucking hell, man. I I impulsively thrust the broom out and stabbed her in the eye with it. Take that, I thought. But my moment of bravado was short-lived. The broom immediately shattered into a million pieces. If my attack accomplished anything, it just made her mad. I had the sudden sensation of someone seizing me by the throat, accompanied by an unpleasant crunching sound. God, she really did have me by the throat. I couldn't breathe. For an old and frail as she looked, she was uncommonly strong. She's a ghost! Gotcha. She was actually gripping me so tightly that she managed to raise me off the ground by my neck. I could see her slender, bony hand in the peripheral of my vision and feel it cutting into my trachea. Was that hand really holding me in the air against my will? Kicking and flailing by just the tissue and bones of my neck. I couldn't struggle anymore. I was like a puppet on a string. Tag, you're it. With a sudden crack, my field of vision shifted 90 degrees and everything turned blood red. Okay. Oh my, just like me. See, this is why you don't use physical objects against ghosts. Never works. Okay, so what we did is we grabbed the salt. Okay, so we stood at the teacher's podium, we hid in the teacher's podium, we made a break for it, we grabbed the salt, we got to the entrance. Instead of breaking the glass, we ran somewhere else, and then we're gonna, instead of reaching our hands out, we're gonna prey upon the pencil. If this is a dream, please, let me wake up from it right now. Those were... Okay, those were her words? Those were the words echoing through my head as I clutched Tsukasa's pencil tied against my bosom, like a prayer talisman. Moments later, I crashed into the ground. And a horrible squelching sound echoed in my ears. My neck was... Tsukasa's pencil that pierced deep into my throat. Good job. Blood was splurting everywhere. I was practically drowning in it. I landed right on it, and it wasn't long before I gasped my final gasp. So, whatever you do, don't pray to pencils. They might kill you. Okay, instead of running somewhere else, we're gonna break the glass. Now, this doesn't lead to a wrong end. This leads to the true ending, but this is another option, apparently. Putting my thoughts in order, I came to the sudden realization that I was right near the umbrella racks. Unless the spirit had taken it or something, my umbrella should still have been right where I left it. Here it is! I practically tackled the rack, grabbing my umbrella in one swift motion. Not from the handle, mind you, but from the top. Then, taking aim at the glass part of the door, I swung as hard as I could, smacking it dead center with the sturdy plastic handle. So, the glass wasn't going to break so easily, so of course, but it did crack, giving me the whatever. I needed to go in for a second hit. Break, damn you, break! Again and again I struck the glass. I had the umbrella gripped so tightly that the metal skeleton of the canopy was leaving indentations in my skin. I was sure there had to be a better way to do this. But I didn't have the luxury of time to figure out what it might have been. Stop! You must not leave! She's coming this way! I began smacking the glass even harder, even faster. My hands were killing me, but this was my only hope of survival. Finally, after far too much effort. Yes, I did it! The glass shattered onto the floor, making one hell of a sound. Tepid air whooshed in from outside. It was still pouring rain, but I was free now. Free to escape this hellhole. Okay. The pane I'd broken was on the lower half of the door. I didn't care if I cut myself. I got down on my hands and knees and crawled like mad. I did it! I'm almost outside! I could actually escape! I'm safe! I felt triumph for a brief moment. The fear was gone. I was basking in my victory over this malevolent entity. But it didn't last long. Before I was even halfway through the door, I felt something coil itself around my arm. With a start, I looked back. Ah! You mustn't go outside. A tall, shadowy figure had appeared behind me in the entranceway, and she had me in her grasp. There wasn't much more to her than an indistinct, flickering silhouette, but I could clearly see she had a broken neck. Was this a different apparition? Her scraggly, root-like fingers were squeezing my arm with tremendous force, pushing aside muscle and tissue and pressing right on the bone. No! Who? What are you? So, where are you going, my dear? I'll just be a little longer, so won't you please wait for me? That hurts! That really hurts! I was shaking hysterically and tears were streaming down my face. I was absolutely convinced that I was going to die here. Let go of me! Sachi. I could offer no resistance. She was too strong. All I could do was plead with her. Stop, please! Stop, please! You're really hurting me! I felt like my arm would snap in two at any moment. Let's be together forever. She wasn't just grabbing, but twisting as well. The pain was unlike anything I'd ever experienced before. I couldn't think about anything else. My mind was absorbed by the unconscionable agony.
Stop!
I thought my arm was about to snap off, and then all of a sudden I was whisked away. Whisked away by Tsukasa.
大丈夫か?
Are you okay? So, why? Tsukasa?
今しのごの言ってる場合じゃない。逃げるぞ。
No time to explain. We have to run. What? Tsukasa was still holding on to me tightly after saving me from the brink of death. He led me back into the school at an incredible speed. Alrighty, so that was episode 3, Wrong Ends, plus an alternate way to get the true ending. Alrighty, so that was all the endings, so this is all clear, so that means it'll be time to move on to chapter 4. See you guys then.